Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Erica. Today is launch day for our March Quilty and Stitchy Stitch Along, Sew Along, all the things. So over the last couple of years, we have done a monthly quilt and stitch along. It's been a lot of fun. If you'd like to see my previous patterns, you can do so. They are available in my store. We did a truck of the month. Those were adorable. We did a house of the month, also super cute. Last year we did a pillow of the month, and then this year we are doing table toppers of the month. And these table toppers are actually the same size as the pillow, so if you wanted, you could make them into a pillow. You could also do them as a little wall hanging. You can probably see I still have my February one up here on my wall behind me as well. But let's go ahead and dive right in. We're gonna start off with the Stitchy. So I'm keeping my cross stitch in my cute little to-go case, craft to-go case. This is a free tutorial here on YouTube. And I'll open mine up for you. This is what it looks like inside. It's got places for your floss, scissors. I have a little place right here that I keep my needles, and then a bigger pouch right here. I've got my cross stitch back here, and then I have a little mini design board right here that I keep my floss curled up on. So once I take it off of the bobbin, I can just leave it there in a little nest until I need that color again. So let's go ahead and take a look at my progress. Okay, so here's my cross stitch progress, and the patterns do include the individual cross stitch, but they also include the whole chart if you want to do the whole chart like I am. The last few times I've done individual finishes for all of these, so if you need finishing ideas, go back and watch some of our previous videos, and you can just get a couple different ideas. We've done the pillows. I've put them on, I don't know if you can see, oh you can't, it's too low. Here, I'll get it. I finished them on sticky boards, and then I just used magnets to put it on this cute little cutting board, and then I actually have this hung on my wall. It's just above that lamp, so you just can't quite see it in the video, but this was our March house of the month. So there's lots of different fun ways to finish these, but I'm gonna be doing this whole cloth version because I haven't done that yet. So here is a little recap. We've got January, we've got our little gnome for February, and then for March, I've got a cute little basket with some fun flowers coming out of it, and they are supposed to be a little bit like clovers. I don't 100% love clovers, and I have done that in previous months, but I wanted to do something a little bit different, so you'll see how I did that with the quilted version as well. But here is my current progress, and I have stitched the whole border now, so I've got my whole border stitched and ready to go, and then each month I can just add in my little piece. I am working a little bit ahead, so that's why I'm not showing you the rest of it. Here, we'll fold it this way. But then see, you can just see I've got my border done for the rest of the stitch along. I am using all DMC floss for this, and then I'm stitching on a 14 count Ada. This is in the platinum colorway, and this was the same fabric we used for our Christmas spools stitch along if you did that one. So I really like this color. It's just a nice neutral sort of beige-ish color, and so I love that. I think it really complements the floss really well. Also, if you're a beginner stitcher, these are a great way to get started. This one is really easy. You can do the individual stitch like I said, and they are pretty fast. You can do them in like a night or two, just hanging out on the couch watching movies, so that's a lot of fun, and there's nothing complicated in here, and I think the fact that they're a little bit smaller makes them a lot more manageable and less intimidating if you're wanting to get into cross stitch. So nothing fancy here, and then I just use my size 26 tapestry needle to stitch, and then I use 2 strands of my embroidery floss. And if you are new, I also have a whole how to cross stitch series here on YouTube. You can check that out. It goes through all of the supplies that I like, and then just how to do the basic stitches. And then I also, I think it was in December, released a video on how to do a couple fancier stitches that we needed for that particular cross stitch. So you can check out those if you need help getting started, but these are a great way. They're not intimidating, and then you can just do one little motif each month, and then you'll have a really fun stitch when we're done with the year. So that's it for the cross stitch info. Let's take a look at the quilty version. Okay, so the quilty version, I'm going to challenge you guys just a little bit. There are a lot of little pieces on this, so I do highly recommend that you either Mary Ellen's Best Press or start your fabric before you start on this, and then also just give yourself some grace because there's a lot of things going on, but it turns out really cute, and I think if you make a little mistake, which I did, and I will show you a little bit in just a minute, but I think you'll find that this turns out really cute. So here is the March Quilty table topper, and I think it just turned out so cute. Like I said, I wanted to do clovers, and I didn't want them to be super obvious clovers. So these little flowers here in the middle are kind of supposed to be a little bit clovery, and then I've got a cute leaf border going all the way around with those, alternating with those clovers. I think it turned out so cute. And then in the center, I've got our little pot with the flower. And this flower is one I've used for sunflowers before. It's called the Rolling Stone block. I also have a free tutorial for just this block on the, I think it was the 2022 Sew With Me series that we did here on YouTube. So it's a classic quilt block, but it's perfect for making into little flowers. And then I added some leaves, obviously, to make it look more like a flower and put it in a cute little bowl. And I think it just turned out so fun. So for me, the fabric that I'm using for all of my table toppers, I'm trying to dig into my stash. And so these prints were all from my Bloom collection. And then I think I used 1 or 2 from my Harvest collection. I'm looking over here because all my fabric is on my shelf right here. It might mostly be Bloom though, now that I'm looking at it. So I think the gingham is from Harvest. And then for the background fabric, instead of just using a plain white, I used the background that was from that Bloom collection as well. And I am sorry, it is sold out. That released early last year, and so those were sold out right away, and it's really fun colors. These are going to kind of be my signature colors, so you can look forward to new lines with similar colors coming throughout this year as well. So if you missed out on this line, don't fret, but I do want to encourage you to get into your stash, and these are perfect for it. I don't know if you've noticed, but the leaves are great. You can do all different greens. They don't have to match. And then for the little clover flowers, same thing. I've got a bunch of different colors going on in here, and you can make each one different if you want. They don't all have to be the same. So these projects are really great for digging in your stash. Now I will admit, when I quilted this, I was having a hard time. My machine was struggling and I kept skipping stitches. So I changed my needle out, which is the first thing I always do. And then I ended up changing my bobbin, which I think fixed it. So I think the bobbin that I had in there must have just been not wound properly. And so it was causing me to skip stitches. So those are usually the two things that I check when I'm struggling. Needless to say, I had to go over a couple spots. So the quilting in this is not very good, but it's okay. And I'm going to show you from the back so you can kind of see, but I did swirls, and then every now and then I added in a leaf, and so I just did swirls and leaves all over this, and I think it still turned out cute. You can't really see my mistakes once you get everything quilted and put together. So if you have a hard time with that as well, know that it happens to everybody. And once you're done with a project, people really won't notice all of that. So anyways, I just stuck with it, finished quilting it, and I think it turned out so cute. The other thing that I did, I'll show you the backing. This backing is from, again, that Bloom collection, and it's just the creamy background with the tiny little flowers. I think it's so cute. I am still out of, or I haven't ordered the little labels that I usually put on my small projects. So I am going through some of my Sweetwater Tag subscription labels. So here's the one I put on, and I think it says Lucky You Stitched, oh, Made with Love by Erica Arndt. And so that is super cute. And honestly, I was feeling a little lazy when I added this because I was already struggling with my quilting. And so I honestly just trimmed it down. And these are adhesive, so I pressed it on so it stayed in place. And then I just did a quick running stitch around the outside edge of that to hold it in place. Normally I will put some fabric behind it, or, you know, frame it with some fabric just so it stands out a little bit better. I did that on last month's topper. It was really cute. But on this one, I just was feeling lazy, so that's what I ended up doing. For the binding, I used my navy gingham. This is one of my favorite prints from that line. I love navy, or it's kind of a denim color gingham, and it's just so fun. And so I thought I would talk a little bit about binding because I don't think I have yet. So for these smaller projects, I treat them just like I do my larger quilts. So I do 2.5-inch strip binding. I sew 2 width of fabric strips together. I just sew them end to end straight. I don't do a bias join, but you can if you want. I do have a video on how to do both ways here on YouTube. And then I just press those seams, and then I press my binding in half lengthwise. And then when I add it to my project, I go ahead and just add it to the front side first, and then I sew that on all the way around, and then I flip it around to the back, and then I stitch it to the back. Now what that means, and I do it by machine, I don't do it by hand, but you could do it by hand. But what that means is that there is a tiny little line here. I don't even know if you can really notice it, but there is a tiny little line that goes right around there where you can see where I stitched the back binding on showing up on the front. That doesn't bother me at all. If it bothers you, you can do more of a stitch in the ditch and sew from the front. I just find I have a really hard time stitching in the ditch from the front and actually catching the binding on the back. Theoretically, it should work mathematically if you've, pressed everything and everything is lining up right. However, I have such a hard time with that. It was so frustrating for me to do binding that way. So now I just flip it over and I sew it from the back where I can see what I'm doing. And then I know there's going to be a little bit of a stitch line on the front, but I don't care. So you can do it however you want. And then of course, if you hand bind it on the back, you wouldn't see that at all. So anyways, but that's how I did mine. Now, one other thing I want to share with you is that I did mess up on my own pattern, and I debated long and hard about fixing it, and I didn't notice it until after I had quilted it. Of course, if I had noticed it before, I probably would have fixed it, but once the quilting is in there, it's a whole thing to pick out all those little swirls, and I left it overnight. This morning I decided, you know what, it's fine as it is. I'm just gonna leave it. I'm gonna tell you guys that I made a mistake and that it's okay. And so I went ahead and put the binding on this morning and just called it good. But what happened is, you'll see this border that goes around, it's supposed to be it's supposed to look like it's going in a circle. So this little clover is leading into this one, which this one should have been turned this way so that it was going the same direction as this one. And then as you go down, the clovers would go down like this one is going the correct way, and then coming back across, this one needs to get turned again where this leaf is leading right into the clover, and then back up. So it's like a circular kind of vibe. I sewed them on incorrectly, and so this one and this one are going the wrong directions, and so it is correct in the pattern. I know you'll do a better job at following the pattern than I did, but if for some reason you make the same mistake I do, just know that it's okay, and you can pull it out if you want. But I looked at it this morning and I'm like, is this gonna bother me? And I decided that it wasn't. So I just left it. I just did not feel like picking out all of the quilting. I would have had to pick out, a good area here so that I could then rotate this block right here and re-sew it in, and I just didn't have it in me. Also, once I looked at it, I thought, you know what, it's just not that big of a deal. So I left mine, but just know that mistakes do happen. I even make mistakes in my own patterns, and it's okay, and I am leaving mine, but I would love to see yours in our Sew With Me group, and I know you'll do a lot better job at following my pattern than I did. The other thing I want to mention, and I made this mistake as well, so I figure I'll mention it here, is just make sure that when you're sewing your clovers together, these little guys are all facing the right way. I think it was this one where I had this little bit turned up here, so the snowballed corner was up here instead of down here. So instead of these matching up right here, it was just turned. But at that one, I noticed after the quilt top had been put together but not quilted. So I did actually pick out that, fix it, and then put it back in. So you can fix your mistakes if you want, but then certain ones I think just sometimes aren't worth the time and energy. So anyways, but here is what it turned out like. I love it. I think it's super cute, and I also love the blue and green combo. After I sewed this with my bloom fabric, I was thinking this would be really cute if any of you guys have any leftover Shoreline or Nantucket Summer from Camille Ross Kelly. Those are similar colors a little bit. I don't know that she has like the aqua in that line, but she definitely has like the navies and the greens, and I think that would be really cute as well. But anyways, here is my finished Quilty March table topper. And then I wanted to just make sure to remind you that we do have the March sticker packs still available in our store as well. I'll just put a little image here so you can see what those look like. Those are super cute. We put out monthly sticker packs last year, and I'm just going to keep those stocked in my store for now. And we might be putting out some new stickers throughout the year as well, but for now I just love those sticker packs, so I didn't want to go through and redo them all because I thought they were really cute as is. All right, so that's it for our March release. I hope that you love both March patterns. Don't forget to join our Sew With Me group on Facebook. You can post all of your progress there. I'm sharing my progress there as well, and it's really fun to see what other people are doing and colors that they're using, fabric they're using, and so it's just a lot of fun over there in that group. It's also a private group, so we can keep all the spammers out, so when you go to join, make sure that you answer the questions and agree to the group rules, and then we'll admit you. If you don't fill those out, then a lot of times we'll just decline you with feedback saying, come back and just fill out the questions. That way we know you're not a spammer trying to enter our group. So that's going to be it for today's video. I hope you are enjoying these sew-alongs and having a lot of fun this year. I know I am. Thank you so much for watching today's video. If you have any comments or questions, please leave those below. Also, let me know which one you're doing, if you're doing quilty or stitchy, and what color ways you're doing as well. And don't forget to subscribe to my channel. You can also hit that notification bell so you don't miss out on any of our upcoming fun. Thank you so much for hanging out with me today, and I will see you in the next video.